Good evening and welcome to Friday's Live with me, Raj Nayak. This evening, I have with me a young and dynamic lady. She's a traveler, she's an animal lover, she's a nature lover, she's an avid book reader, a foodie, Nadia Chauhan. Welcome, Nadia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Raj. Good to see you after so long.
Yeah, good to see you too. And we haven't spoken to each other for almost 9 months now. How much? Not 9 months. How much is it? 7 months? 6 months? How much is
Yeah, I think almost 7 to 8 months. Not spoken, but not spoken while looking at each other.
it? So, first of all, Nadia, thank you so much for doing this and agreeing to come on this live chat in spite of your hectic schedule. It's a Friday evening, and sorry for taking you out. So, tell me, what have you been doing all these days?
All these days, well, it's been quite an experience. I think that no one expected to have so much time at hand. I think that especially for me, I felt I got an opportunity to spend a lot of time with my family and my kids, which I could never have dreamt of. So I really took advantage of all this time to spend with them, and I've enjoyed exploring and learning a lot of new things. Other than that, we've been back at work for the last few months, so it's great to start seeing some sort of normalcy setting in, and start seeing the business gaining momentum again.
Yeah. So, what have you learned in this last 6 months?
From So it started off with having to cook every meal at home because the lockdown happened at a time when our cook was on leave, and so it started off with that. So really experimented with a lot of cuisines and a lot of food, and it started becoming something that I started loving to do and started enjoying feeding everybody. And experimented a lot, with desserts and different things. But besides that, gave a lot of time to fitness and did Pilates for the first time, which was fun and a new experience altogether. And then lot of things, Raj. I think that it's been such a long time. I can't recollect also all those earlier months during the lockdown, but I've been reading a lot. My mom got into some kind of doodling activity as a stress buster, and then she taught Nia and she taught me that, and we started doing that as well. So we've done quite a lot of things to pass time as productively as possible.
So, Nadia, this show is about this live chat is basically about people, their journey, and things like that. So, tell me something about your childhood.
Wow. About my childhood, well, what would you like to know? So I grew up, basically, I'm the youngest of three sisters, and both my sisters actually have been in, there's a big age gap between us, and the two of them were always in boarding school, actually. And then thereafter they went abroad to study. So in a way, I grew up like an only child at home. Um, Being the youngest, I was, of course, pampered, they say, and really enjoyed all the attention. I grew up around, lots of animals, and I grew up spending a lot of time with my dad in his office. I used to love that. I would come back from school, office was on the way home. I would always drop by and spend time there and attend some meetings with him, do some product tasting, which I used to love doing. um, but yeah, I grew up. I think whenever I think about my childhood, I still think of myself having spent so much time in office, and then around a lot of animals. And I used to love starting new things and creating businesses and ideas of my own. So I remember I started a baking company then, and I don't remember how old I was very young, called Just Divine. And I would sell these brownies for 8 rupees. And I would often have these kind of like garage sales outside our house. I'd put up these big signs, sale, sale, sale. One day my dad was on his way home and he was like, "Oh my God, is the house on sale?" Because there are these huge signs all over. And I would just sit there with a little table at my gate at our bungalow and spend time selling things. So from the brownies I'd make to lots of other toys and books and all kinds of things. I was always restless, wanting to keep doing something all the time. So I would come up with all kinds of ideas, from a tie and dye T-shirt business to the sales to the baking business, all kinds of stuff.
So you had the entrepreneur streak in you right from.
Yeah, I think it comes from being around my dad, always thinking of ideas and thinking of creating stuff and building things.
You mentioned lots of animals. I mean, what you had lots of pets at home, dogs, what's it?
I've never been in a house without a dog, so I've had a dog all my life. But we also had a cat at that point. It was my sister's cat who used to be in, the bungalow with us. I used to be terrified of the cat, and we'd have these staring competitions, and the cat would always win, and I'd have to sort of hide because it was just so scary. But we took care of him while she was in boarding school. We've grown up around horses quite a bit. We used to spend actually almost all our family holidays, I think, as kids, have been together in a hill station called Mathiran, and primarily there because of the whole family's love for riding. So we would go almost Christmas, Diwali, summer breaks, all the time. We would just be in Mathiran. Um, in a hotel that used to be quite iconic at that time over there, called Rugby, and we would just be riding as a family together, morning ride, evening ride. And yes, we grew up around horses, and then eventually we decided to buy a few horses of our own as well.
So, do you have your own horses now?
Yeah, we do. We have one still.
You have a horse now, yeah,
Yeah.
and you can ride a proper horse.
Yes, I can.
And what about your children? Have you teaching them as well?
Well, Nia, who's my eldest, she's an absolute animal lover. She has a very very special connection with all kinds of animals. I mean, it freaks me out because one day she came back and she's like, I want to buy a snake. So she finds them cute and whatnot, and we had to sort of find a way for her to go and hold a snake when we were in Australia. But besides horse, she's tried her hand at horse riding. She loves our horse at our farm, and she enjoys spending time with him. But maybe when she's a little older, she'll get more seriously into riding as well.
So, what do they like now? What are they into?
Well, Kian is I would say a full-time gamer. He's extremely passionate gamer. I can't understand head or tail of what he does when he's playing. Everything happens so fast, and there's a lot happening. So he. There are two things or three things I would say that he's loves. One, he loves his food. He loves being in the water, and he loves gaming. And Nia is she's quite the opposite in many ways, and she loves animals. She has like I said, a very very special connection with all kinds of animals. She's also very creatively inclined, so she's a lot into different forms of art and different forms of creativity, including photography and whole host of things that she's quite passionate about. And she loves baking as well. So that was one thing that the two of us really did. Even during the lockdown, we got a lot of time to spend with each other, just baking and trying our hand at some very complicated but pretty delicious stuff.
So, how much time in a normal day? Of course, now you got a lot of time with your children, but otherwise, on a normal day, how much time would you get to spend with them, given your hectic schedule of running a large organization?
So if we go back to, before all of this, my day actually started off, every day would start off with them. I would spend time by, sort of going to school. I would drop them every single day to school. And then of course it's the evenings after work where we would get time together, and we would always make it a point to, and we do even now, to spend the weekends together, whether it's going to our farm and just all being together, or both the kids, they're amazing travelers, and we, all of us, we just love traveling, and so we would often, look at quick weekend getaways and explore different parts of places close to Bombay. um, so it would basically be more like just basically that, mornings, evenings, and weekends.
So tell me about your experience when you were young. I mean, you said you used to go to your father's office and things like that. So what are the memories that you have? And second question I have for you, I mean, I'm just thinking, Parle, the name Parle is a very, it's a household name in this country. I
Hmm.
mean, how did that name come about?
Um, the name Parley actually, so the first factory that was set up was in Ville Parle, and very just 5 minutes, away from our house in Ville Parle, and that was originally where, my great grandfather and his sons, they all set up over there. That's so it ended up being called the Parle factory because it was in Ville Parle, and that's really where it all came from. It actually originated from the area that it was in, and over time, the brands that got launched and the markets that we developed, it ended up becoming quite iconic. And the name just sort of built upwards from there. Now today our business is called Parley Agro because there are multiple parts of the family that separated the business. So we represent now Parley Agro.
And so tell me, what do you do with, what are the different things that you do in Parle?
Um, so today we are, we are the largest Indian beverage manufacturer in India, and we manufacture basically fruit-based beverages primarily. Some of our most iconic ones are fruity and Appy Fizz. I spend a lot of time at work, really focusing on. Um, um, on the road ahead, really looking at what we need to do and putting together all that we need to do to achieve it. So I work closely with the sales and marketing, also a lot on product development. These are the parts of the business that I spend most of my time on, and that I drive, personally.
So I'm coming back. I just wanted that because while introducing you at the beginning, I forgot to, you know, I'm missing what you do. Things like that. So I said it's important for me to establish this.
Yeah.
So tell me your sisters. I mean, your three sisters. What do they do?
My elder sister Shauna, all three of us work in the business, and we each have our roles quite well defined. Shauna looks after the operations, all our plans and HR, finance. Alicia looks after all our CSR initiatives for the company, as well as a lot of environment oriented initiatives. And I just shared with you what I do as well.
And you said you were. They say that you were pampered when you were young. Were you really pampered?
I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, I guess being the only child left in the house since both of them were away, I did get a lot of attention, and I had my way with things more often than not. But yeah, I'm sure they'll both have a lot more to say about that.
I'm going to check with them definitely. So tell me, as a youngster, what kind of a person were you? Are you still the same? Have you changed? What's it?
Oh, I think
Who,
I've changed tremendously.
who is the real you? Who is the real you?
Uh, so I grew up as an introvert. I was a complete introvert, very very shy. I didn't like having people around. Would barely talk to anybody. Other than those who I knew well. I'm a lot like that still, but I think that my work and what I do specifically forced me to sort of break out of that introvert shell and I had to do a lot more. But now I really enjoy. I mean, as compared to my childhood, now I really enjoy meeting people, learning from them, and I'm a lot. I would say I learned this term from my son's teacher actually, an extroverted introvert, and that's what I think I am now.
Extroverted introvert.
Yes.
That's a very interesting line. Uh, you are a traveler, so what are the places you've traveled, and what is it about traveling that you like?
I feel while I say I'm a traveler, it's like I can't remember now the last time I traveled. I think all of us are just waiting for, the opportunity to travel again. But the last I think the last place we traveled was actually Australia, and that was in December, January. My sister Alicia, she studied in Australia for many years, and she used to always want us to travel and visit her there. And I never managed to do it because it was so far away, and I was studying and in school at that time. But so we decided all of us to just take a go on a holiday, and all three of us and my husband, my kids, all the kids. We traveled to Sydney and the Gold Coast and to Hamilton Islands, and that was the last actually. But in general, we love exploring new places, so we try to cover a new country each time, and love trying local food. We're all foodies, and just going to new places and experiencing the local food culture and things like that. But basically, try to go to new places all the time.
Yeah, I love Hamilton Island. It's one of my favorite places. I've been there. I don't know whether from Hamilton Island you went to a place called the Whitehaven Beach. I don't know whether you did that,
No,
but
we didn't manage to do that.
but you got to see the Great Barrier Reef and things like that.
Yes, yes.
But which is your favorite place when you travel?
Um, I struggle with my favorite for anything. So if you ask me my favorite book next, I'll struggle with that as well. But um, I I love going to London. I think London's really special. We've spent a lot of time in London as well because my father received some medical care from there, so we stayed for extended periods of time there. So it's one of my favorite places. But a special one of the most special holidays I think I've had with my husband and my kids has been in Switzerland, and we just thoroughly enjoyed our time there. It sounds quite typical in that sense, but it was a very special holiday for us.
Is it that you used to go to Switzerland often with your family?
No, actually, we went there. We went there. The four of us went there together for the first time. Though Shauna and Alicia both studied in Switzerland, and I visited them there before. But I think it's just the food, and the kids loved experimenting with fondue and raclette, and all the macaroons and whatnot. And it was a great experience just traveling. We actually rented a car, and we drove down to the Saint Bernard Museum, towards the south of Switzerland. And that's where Saint Bernards actually come from, and you learn all about it. And the kids love animals so much, so we drove down 4 hours and did a lot of this kind of stuff, traveled all over, and really experience a lot of new things. I think that's what makes most holidays special, when we experience new things as we travel.
Tell me about your some memories from your childhood on any of the holidays that you had. Something that you remember, something distinct.
Um, like I said, I think that from my childhood, memories that come to mind are really all in Mathiran, and all of us riding. I think there used to always be so much excitement because we'd all go riding as a family and go from the hotel to a different point, and you see so much happening along the way. But I used to have this thing where I couldn't ever leave, and there was this one time when we had to leave, and I just absolutely refused to leave, and I cried and cried and cried until my parents were like, okay, fine, you stay back, and they kept one of my sisters, and the two of us, we stayed back. And for me, leaving Mathiran was always a tough thing. I would hate getting off the horse. We'd always normally have a morning ride and an evening ride, and I would hate, when it came to an end. Um, Always wanted to keep going, and yeah, those all our memories. I think from childhood, probably for all three of us. I don't know, but has always been around Mathura.
And have you taken your kids there now? Do you go there?
Sadly, as much as I want to, and my daughter is asthmatic, and I'm really not sure how she would react to the dust because there's all the mud around. So just can't take the chance.
So, Nadia, tell me, what do you do to keep yourself charged, energized? Because anytime I've seen you, every time I've seen you, you're always in this nirvana mode. How do you manage that?
Um, am I really Raj? I think.
Unless you have a mask on.
Well, for me, I've always just been really passionate. I think from the time I was a child, with everything that I do, I don't take something on unless I love it, and I feel passionate about it. And I think that's really the biggest thing. I think that if you're passionate about something, whether you have a good day or a bad day, you'll always be charged, and you'll always find joy in whatever you're doing. Um, I really think it's just that I'm sometimes, one can say a little bit too passionate about things, and so then I get really, emotional also about it. But because I get so involved, but I think it's just that I think my energy comes from the fact that I just love. I do everything that I love. That really energizes me.
And what's your day like? What's your routine like?
Uh, my routine is, I'm up and about and get the kids going with their school, and then I'm at work all day. I come back in the evening. I get a little bit of time to, myself where I can work out, and then it's just with the family. We're all very, very close as a family, so we spend a lot of time together, and lots of meals together. I've sent you some of the
Yes, I
new
know.
recipes
I've,
that we discovered through the lockdown.
yes, I've enjoyed your food. I've enjoyed your dessert. Uh, so
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your mom and dad. We haven't spoken about them at all.
My mom and dad. My mom is she's a complete rock star. I don't know. I hope that she's listening and she's hearing all these wonderful things I'm going to say
I've met
about
her
her.
and I agree with you.
She's
She is a rock.
she's like the coolest amongst the three of us. She's like the coolest. I don't know the word to describe her, but she's an incredible human being, and I think that she's got a heart of gold. She's taught us. Like I always say that if our dad taught us everything about work and our business, and how to drive and build a business, she's taught us how to be good people. And she's just, it's hard to describe her. She's a very, very special personality, and anybody who meets her will be touched by that special trait of hers and can possibly never forget her.
That,
um
yeah,
yeah.
I can vouch for that.
Yes. My dad, much like also all of us, he's very, very passionate about his work. I think his 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 baby or his life and everything is the business and his work. And he's he's got an incredible mind. I think that the way he's brought us into the business and created such synergy in the way he's defined each of our roles and allowed us to really function in an independent capacity and yet work together so harmoniously. It's really to do with his vision and his ability to really see things far out into the future. He's a very dynamic personality himself, and very very inspiring.
So, how much involvement does Dad have now in the business?
He's still very, very much involved, and other than in between when he had a little bit of health issues, but now he's doing absolutely well, and he's at office every day. His breakfast is in office, and then he's in office till the end of the day almost. So he's quite involved. He picks up, certain projects which become his key, pet projects, and he drives them quite passionately, and then has us on our toes because he's someone who he likes to move fast, and he's got a very, very aggressive vision. I remember when I joined the business. The first meeting I attended, he said that this year we have to grow at 100%. And I was so raw and fresh into business. And I'm like, okay, he said we have to grow at 100%. Let's grow at 100%. I didn't think that, wow, this is going to be like a big task. But we all made it happen. And it's incredible because, he has a phenomenally huge vision, and he's able to sort of drive all of us and sort of spark that energy in everybody to make it happen. But he likes it all happening fast, and he keeps us on our toes even now. So it's good.
So, Nadia, if there's one quality of your mom's and one quality of your dad's that you imbibe, what would they be? What would that?
It would be what I think I imbibed. I don't know, but I would say that. I'm like my mom in the sense of being a people's person. I think that she really, she's very selfless. She loves, people, and she loves doing things for people. I think that that's something that I think I've imbibed from her. From my dad, I would say it's just. Um, I would say it's a lot to in really believing in your gut and really operating from there. Not everybody can, and I think he's somebody who really goes with his gut, and somehow I feel like that's something I have as well, and that's really what creates that connection between him and me when we're at work. We see the same things because we're both also operating from our gut, and that sense of feel of everything that's going on around us. um, so I would say it's that.
So, you got the best of both, actually.
Yeah.
And we discussed food, so I'm going to come back to food, and I'm not going to ask you which is your favorite food because you said you'll
I
find it
will
difficult
struggle
to
with
answer.
that, yes.
Yeah. But tell me, what is your favorite cuisine? It doesn't have to be which part of the world. What kind of food do you like?
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yes, it's
And,
Japanese food.
and what are your favorite places in Mumbai to start with?
In Mumbai, at the moment, the only place you can access Japanese food, I think, is Izumi. And yeah, you and I were supposed to, all of us were actually supposed to go there together. But
No, really,
yes,
really.
and then all this happened. But uh, that's one of our favorite places. It's nearby, and they've got great food, and Nuresha is a good friend, and it's great to be able to eat her food now at home as well. So that's one of the places.
But have you tried your hand at cooking Japanese food?
We did. My mom gave Vaibhav and me on our anniversary. She gave us this cooking session where we went and did this Japanese course. I don't want to mention where, but it ended up being so terrible. We snuck out in the middle of the session and, found ourselves a nice restaurant to quietly eat dinner. I don't know if I told her, and I'm going to get yelled at for this now, but yeah, we've tried it once. We it flopped very badly, but we have to try it again.
And between the three of you, and your two sisters, Alicia and Shauna, who cooks better? Or they don't cook? How is it?
No, no, no. They don't cook, Raj, at all. They cannot operate in the kitchen, and they're here, and I'm the cook. Actually, I remember this really funny moment, because you've met Shauna, and you know, we
Yeah.
were in London, and we were in a service apartment over there, and we needed to, someone needed to cook and someone needed to clean. Now, I can't imagine Shauna either cooking or cleaning, but cooking is so terrible for her that she's like, "Don't worry, I'll clean, you cook." So and I remember her with a vacuum cleaner sitting and cleaning while I was cooking, but neither one of them can cook. They'd rather clean.
I'm also while I'm talking to you, I'm trying to fiddle around, switching cameras and things like that. So getting a little distracted in the process. Uh,
No.
uh, so tell me some of your what do you say in your college things, some memories from your college and things like
Uh, Very tough. I think I spent my entire childhood and all my time in college also in office, So I really started off quite young, and so used to really spend most of my time at work. But if I have to think of something, I used to be part of, our college's Rotaract club, and I used to love it because, again over there, it's really about being very enterprising and doing, a lot of interesting things. So I used to, do a lot of stuff with CSR initiatives at that point, and put together a whole host of different events, and get sponsors for different events and things like that. But I don't have very special memories from college as such. I think that literally my school and my college was my office, my dad's office.
I'm trying to find out more about you, and you're not opening up. You're adapting. You're very smart. You're very very smart. So Uh, so, is it the same office that you have now? That where you used to go to your dad's office? I mean,
No, we used to be. It's in the same location, but it used to be a different building altogether. I don't know if you remember, the building you would normally see on the highway with the big gold spot bottle. On the other side, that's where we all grew up. And then this new office happened much later, though it's in similar location.
yeah. Even I've noticed one thing. I mean, I've been to your office a couple of times, many times actually, and you have a place for your children there as well, right? And they spend a lot of time in your office.
Yes, they do. So all the kids, all three of us and our kids, they've been coming to office since they were, infants. Nia came with me to office when she was a month old, and that was the only way for us to really be able to function at work as well. And so eventually we had to start setting up spaces for them. So it started off with a small nursery, and now we have a slightly bigger space for them so that they can come over there. They've sort of been taking care of these stray dogs that have created a home for themselves in our office, and then eventually Nia and Nikolai and all of them got together and have been taking care of all the dogs. They've adopted some 10, 12 dogs there, And with all this space, it's a great place for the for all the kids to cycle. And Jahan, my nephew, he's so passionate about all of this. He has a motorbike that he got for his birthday this year, and proper 100 cc bike, that he actually rides. So it's good for them to have all that space and have us around when they need us.
How old is he? He rides a 100 cc bike.
He's he's only 7. He just turned 7, and but he's incredible. He's so passionate about his cars and bikes and shoes. Uh, yeah.
Interesting. And so now tell me, what's your vision for the company?
Well,
Because you have done extremely well. I've seen your growth over the past few years. You won a lot of awards. You're also one of the most influential women leaders in this country, according to Forbes and many other magazines. So tell me, what is your vision now?
really, for our business, our vision is, we rebuilt our entire business after we sold, our brands to Coca-Cola many years ago, and we've come a very long way from there. And it's a very exciting time for us because we're one of the fastest growing beverage companies in the country today. Um, my vision, or our company's vision, really is to go back to having that number one position that we held for the longest time, until we sold off. The entire packaged beverage market was really created by my grandfather and my father in India. And you know uh, today we're at a stage where we're growing quite rapidly. We're expanding our portfolio, and we're hoping that over a period of the next 5 to 10 years, make the vision of being the number one brand across categories in the beverage space come true.
Yeah, but is there any particular reason, given the fact that the brand that you created, Thumbs Up, right? When even now it's one of the leading brands in the country. Is there a no compete or something that you haven't entered the cola space?
No, not at all. Actually, no longer. In fact, we've just not entered the space because, as a company, we really thrive on innovation. I think that we work hard to introduce products that are one of its kind into the market, that have a unique proposition and haven't been introduced before. And that's a very core part of our DNA. So for us, I mean, it would have been easy to just go and launch another cola or launched another product in the synthetic carbonated space. But we took a big leap and created this entire new category of fruit based fizzy drinks with Appy Fizz. It's a category we created about 10 years ago, and today it's more than 1,000 crore category, and it's the fastest growing beverage in the country today. So we really get greater joy in building new categories altogether, not just building new brands, but building categories, and really innovating and introducing new products into the market.
You recently launched Fruity Fizz as well, right?
We just launched Bee Fizz. Few years ago, we had launched Fruity Fizz.
So so what's the difference? What is Bee Fizz?
Bee Fizz is the malt flavored sparkling juice drink. So it tastes a little bit like a little bit like beer, but it's a fruit drink. It's got apple, and it's just got the experience of drinking beer without, of course, the alcohol.
You know, when I used to work in Delhi, there used to be a restaurant in Connaught Place called Burkos or something like that. And we
Okay.
used to go there only because all the people who didn't want to drink beer, they had something called, I don't know, they called it fruit beer or something like that. Or something.
Okay.
But there's a huge market for that. Let me tell you.
Yes, absolutely. We've seen it. It's just been a couple of weeks since the launch, and we're seeing huge acceptance. and it's definitely a big opportunity. And I think that for us it's been great timing, because just now with things opening up, we really felt it was the right time, and it brought in a great sense of energy within the sales team and our entire organization, post the lockdown, to finally have something to sort of drive that aggressively.
But that's a bold move to launch a new product during lockdown, isn't it?
It is, but I think that it really paid off, and we've seen that, like I said, that the lockdown is, we're phasing out of it, and we've gone into unlock five now, and I think that that's really the critical point, that you are seeing that markets have opened up, everyone's sort of going out there, trying to get a sense of normalcy. So in a way, while the FMCG category in general saw a lot of products launch during the real lockdown, and just immediately after it, I think that what's worked well for us is that we didn't do it at that point, but we've done it as things have really started opening up.
And how has business been during the lockdown?
It's been, of course, it's had its own set of challenges, because it was so unexpected and sudden. But business was, it did take a big hit. I think that our overall distribution itself got hugely hampered, because very few stores were operating. Only very select stores in every city. But we had our sales force all across the country try and service the outlets that were open. And now we're slowly seeing everything come back, and that momentum setting in again. So it's like, actually, my sister and I, we keep saying that, okay, now the lockdown is done with, we're working on just focusing on the way ahead. And it's great to see, things, moving in a very positive direction already.
So let me switch gears. So tell me, what do you do for your leisure, for your pastime?
I read a lot, and that's something Sagri and I share in common. And I'm always bugging her for recommendations and what she's read last. That's another thing that I also get from my mom, because my mom is she's a voracious reader, and always seen her with a book in her hand. If I have to think of a memory with my mom, it's always with like a book in her hand. Um, so I read a lot, and other than that, I think that because I spend all my other free time with the kids, and my husband, it's just that we're foodies, and we love swimming and things like that. But that's really what we do to pass time.
What about watching shows, Hollywood, Bollywood movies?
Not as much. I think I spend a lot more time reading than I do watching shows, because you tend to otherwise binge watch so much, and it goes late into the night and get so distracted. So I like the little time that I give to my books every day, and most of the best shows are based on all of these books as well. So I really enjoy reading through them.
No, I saw your Insta post recently where you're getting on a 100-day challenge or something, fitness challenge.
Yes, it's a constant improvement process through it. We just did with a group of friends. We did a 40-day fitness challenge. We did all kinds of things, and then met on the beach over the weekends to sort of do that fitness activity together. And we've been cycling a lot. Actually, I think everybody seems to be suddenly cycling, a lot. You can't even buy a cycle in the city. Everyone is, out of stock. But that's been really fun, and that's been a new thing that's happened to us during the lockdown, where we've started cycling early mornings, and it's quite a lot of fun, and it's great form of fitness as well.
Nadia, thank you so much. I think we've spoken quite a lot. So I'm going to ask you, before you go, one more thing. What is it that makes you happy?
What is it that?
makes you happy, and how do you define happiness?
Um, I mean, you will again tell me that I'm not opening up, but it's really true that my happiness is, I would say it's just the kids in my family, my husband, my sisters, my parents, all of us. I think that I'm happiest when I see everybody all at peace and together. And yeah, but other than that, music makes me happy. I'm in a very different space in my head when I have good music around me.
So, what kind of music? What do you like?
All kinds of music. For me, I think music to a certain extent just sort of silences all the thoughts in my head, and so it gives me like great sense of peace. But so it's any kind of music, and this year I remember on my birthday, Webber had organized a band to come and just did a music night for me and all our close friends, and that's something that gives me a lot of joy, just having music on all the time to
Yeah,
silence all the thoughts.
yeah, I remember that night. I was there too,
Yes,
and you were
yes,
dancing.
yes, of
Yeah,
course.
and singing as well, and singing as well.
Yeah, we can pause there. No,
No,
no
I'm
more
not gonna.
details needed. Yeah.
But it was so much fun speaking to you. And I said, let me tell you, this has been my most difficult interview of all the interviews I've done till date, because
What?
I had, yeah, because in spite of knowing you so well, you are so guarded, you're holding up, but that's okay. I'm gonna get you back again on this time. But this time, I will have to master the art of getting all those secrets from you.
Sure. Look forward
Nadia,
to it.
yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for being on this live chat.
Thank you. Thanks, Raj.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.